Yeah, Navarre Raiders, stand up. Get on your feet, mad chow, baby. You know, who wanna rumble with the Raiders? Let's go, yeah, let's go. Navarre Raiders, get up, let's go. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. Yes, you wanna rumble with the Raiders. Come on, rumble with the Raiders. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. Yes, you wanna rumble with the Raiders. Come on. Hey, yo, it's lights out. Whenever they turn the lights on, enough with the talking, baby boy, the fight's on. You wanna rumble with the Raiders? Listen, there's nothing, baby, we running through you haters. And you can hate us, cause we keep chips on our shoulder. You know why we the best, but now we gotta show you. Listen, better watch how you approach us. Y'all bugs to us and we'll stump you cockroaches. Simple and plain, quit is what you should really do. Put your game face on, it's about to get physical. This here's a game of strength, patience, determination. And you can never win if you lack in the motivation. And now you heard it from the source. Losing is not an option, you can hear it in our voice. We only play this game to win, and we gon' put it on the line every time and every chance we get. Cause we may never get this chance again. So when you rumble with the Raiders, understand you on the field with men. Why play if you ain't playing to win? You just wasting the Raiders' time. Listen, shall I say it again? Yeah, you don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. You wanna rumble with the Raiders. Come on. Rumble with the Raiders. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. Yes, you wanna rumble with the Raiders. Come on. Rumble with the Raiders. You don't wanna rumble with the Raiders. Yes, you wanna rumble with the Raiders.
Welcome back to week 2 of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're here at Culvers in downtown Navarre on this rather rainy day. Actually, the last couple of days have shed quite a bit of rain on the Panhandle area. Hopefully everybody out there is safe and sound. If you get a chance and you want to come out and be a part of the show, head on down to Culvers on Highway 98 in Navarre. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. And wherever you may be, if you can't make it out, sit right where you at for the next hour plus, as I'll bring you a recap of last Friday night's Raider win over Washington. We'll have other Panhandle scores. The games went on last Friday night, and should be some great games coming up this week. Great matchup here in Navarre with the Raiders hosting the 2-0 Crestview Bulldogs. Both these teams ranked in the top 10, not only in the AP poll, but also in the Florida High School Football.com poll. And my good friends Tim Keene and Joe Settle out there again tonight. They follow me each and every Wednesday night and broadcast on Friday night when they can. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Like I said, we're going to do a recap of last Friday night's win for the Raiders. We're going to go over some offensive and defensive stats from that game. And then we're going to go over our overall stats after 2 games for Navarre. We're going to have our AP rankings tonight. And then we're going to venture into our Super 7 Power Rankings and our Star of the Week. We'll go over this week's schedule, our high school and college predictions. And we've added a new picker this week. I know that doesn't sound very good, a new picker. A new prediction individual. He's going to be joining us. Actually, he already sent in his picks, so he won't be joining us, but he's actually watching at home. Joe Settle is going to make picks here each and every Wednesday night with Mike and I from now until the end of the season. And then we're going to move on in our former Raiders, where are they now, in our Gulf South Conference after week 1. And once again, I'd like to thank Randy and Honey Smith for hosting this year's show. We're in year number 2 here at Culvers in downtown Navarre. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. You're probably wondering, Irish Bill, why are you wearing an Auburn hat? Well, I thought long and hard about what hat I was going to be wearing tonight. I finally came up with a reason. Since we are entering week 3, I'm going to make the number 3 a part of why I'm wearing this hat. Well, where is it going with this? Well, it was Auburn's 3rd trip to the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. The first two trips didn't go quite so well, but this week did, and a 21-16 win over Washington. So out of respect for my good friends Keith and Bridget Brahms and their son Nick, who plays center for the Auburn Tigers. He's a redshirt freshman. And their daughter Olivia that goes there as well. I'm wearing the Auburn hat. Third time's a charm with your trip to the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Good win for Auburn in week 1. And we're on to the show. Let's talk about last Friday night's game where the Raiders prevailed 53-12. Our Ian Lockwood player of the game from last Friday night was Navarre quarterback Marlon Courtney. Offensive player of the game was Chris Williams. Our defensive player of the game was Evan Gorley. And our special teams player of the game as junior varsity player Jabari Mitchell stepped up last week with the Raiders not playing a JV game this past Thursday night. And he came up big with a 91-yard kickoff return. And that sealed the deal and the final scoring for the Raiders in Friday night's game. Let's go over the scoring from last Friday night. In the first quarter, we had touchdowns run from Carter Williams and Carter once again. And a touchdown pass from Courtney to Caballero is the lone touchdown pass of the night for the Raiders. 5 touchdowns on the ground, 1 through the air, 1 via interception, and 1 via the kickoff return. Kevin Tate was out nursing an injury to his leg. Hopefully he should be back soon. But in the meantime, Dante Wright and JV kicker Preston and Penton had stepped up to handle the kicking chores for the Raiders. First score came at the 10:04 mark, a 4-yard run by Carter. Kick was no good, 6-0 Raiders. At the 7:11 mark, a 23-yard run by Chris Williams. And the right kick is good, and the Raiders had themselves a 13-0 lead. At the 6:43 mark, a 27-yard pass from Courtney to Caballero. Wright's kick was good, and the Raiders were up 20-0 just a little bit over 5 minutes into the game. At the 1:59 mark, a 5-yard run by Carter. Kick no good. And at the end of one, Navarre was up 26-0. On to the second quarter. Williams would add his second touchdown run of the night, a 7-yard run at the 5:12 mark. Penton's kick was good, and the Raiders had a 33-0 lead. They closed out at 2:04 mark, the 89-yard interception return by Evan Gorley, and Penton's kick was good, and the Raiders were up 40-0 at the half. This is the second time in the last 3 years that the Raiders have scored at least 40 points and a half. Last time was a couple years ago when the Raiders put up 49 against American Heritage Delray Beach. They went on to score their most points ever in a game at 70-26, a victory over American Heritage Delray Beach. The Raiders would get the scoring back going once again as we went to a running clock. 35-point lead in the second half. Automatic running clock. Jaden Antonio scored from 1 yard out, his second touchdown of the season at the 6:32 mark. Kick was no good, and the Raiders had a 46-0 lead heading to the fourth quarter. Washington would finally get on the board at the 9:25 mark. A 1-yard run by Julian Robinson. Kick was no good, and your score was 46-6. The Raiders would then get on the board on the next kickoff, a 91-yard kickoff return. And Jabari Mitchell would be the beneficiary of great blocking downfield by his special teams. Penton would add the extra points, and the Raiders had a 53-6 lead. Washington would drive one more time after a 31-yard completion from Joe Slattery to, I got your name here, just a second, DeAndre Smiley set him up at the 2, and a 2-yard run by Eric Smith. No try as the clock ran out, and the Raiders have prevailed 53-12. Navarre rushing on tonight, 24 carries, 159 yards, and 5 TDs. Chris Williams led the way with 11 carries for 78 yards and 2 scores. Josh Carter pitched in 6 carries for 42 yards and 2 scores. Both their first touchdowns of the season for Chris and Josh. Jaden Antonio, 5 carries, 19 yards and a score. Marlon Courtney, 1 carry for 11 yards, and Dante Wright, 1 carry for 9 yards. Raiders had 6 receptions for 112 yards, one by each 6 different receivers. Tyler England 1 for 29. Caballero 1 for 27 and a score. Fernando Gomez 1 for 22. Josh Carter 1 for 17. Dante Wright 1 for 15. And Jaden Antonio 1 for 2 yards. With those 15 yards, Dante Wright moves within 79 yards of tying Raider great Jordan Leggett for the all-time leader in yardage for a career with an 80-yard game this Friday night against Crestview. That will be no easy task, but he would pass Jordan Leggett's all-time career mark. Passing, Marlon Courtney 6 of 8 for 112 yards and a TD. And then for this game, excuse me, I got an itch. The Raiders did not produce any turnovers in this game, so they were +2 in the differential. And let's move on to Washington. 36 carries, 132 yards, and 2 scores for the Washington ground game. We got the text line going already. We'll get to those messages here in just a second. Actually, let's go ahead and do it now. Julie Prevett checking in. Says, hello, Bill. Go Raiders. Beat Crestview. And Joe Settle checking in as always. And he says, War Eagle. Joe for the hat, of course. Joe, good friend of mine. And like I said, Joe will be joining us on paper with his predictions each and every Wednesday night throughout the rest of the 2018 season. 2 receptions for the Wildcats, 1 for 31 yards for DeAndre Smiley, and Julian Robinson had the other one for no gain. Joe Slattery 1 for 31, and Robert Sherlock 1 for 2 for 0 yards and an interception. The Raider defense was led by Isaiah Hayward, 5 tackles, 1 sack. Matthew Downey with 5 tackles. Jordan Jefferson with 5 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and a caused fumble. And Jordan now with 7 tackles for loss through his first 2 games. Xavier Thomas with 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Marvin Bryant with 5 tackles. Roger Adams with 4 tackles. Josh Carter 4 tackles, a tackle for loss. Alex Gilchrist 4 tackles and his 2nd sack on the season. Peyton Law 4 tackles and a fumble recovery. Gabe Davis 4 tackles. Evan Gorley 3 tackles, an 89-yard interception return for a score, a fumble recovery, and a block kick. Bailey Houston 3 tackles. Chris Williams 2 tackles. Jeffrey Maddox and Jacoby Smith 2 tackles each. 2 tackles for loss for Jacoby Smith. Connor Brazell 2 tackles. Cody Lemke 2 tackles, a tackle for loss. Connor Brazell with 2 tackles. We already said that, Bill. Nathan Cruz, Kobe Johnson, Grady Kelly, and Tyler England, all with 1 tackle each. Navarre kicking, Dante Wright 2 of 4 on extra points. Preston Penton 3 of 4 on extra points as well. And 1 Raider punt for 35 yards by Tyler England inside the 20. Well, we've gone over the yardage from this past game. And now let's go over the offensive numbers for the season through 2 games for Navarre. Marlon Courtney, 18 of 24 on the season, 75%, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Garen Finley 1 for 3 for 31 yards and a score. Chris Williams leads the ground gainers for the Raiders, 30 carries, 191 yards, a 6.4 average, and 2 scores. Josh Carter, 12 carries, 70 yards, 5.8. and 2 scores. Jaden Antonio, 14 for 43, a 3.1 average and 2 scores. Marlon Courtney, 3 for 26, 8.7 average, 1 score. Garen Finley, 3 for 8, and Dante Wright, 2 for 7. Tyler England leading the way through the air, 7 catches, 116 yards. Dante Wright, 5 for 102 and 2 scores. Quinn Caballero, 4 for 69, 17.3 average and 2 scores. Fernando Gomez 1 for 22. Josh Carter 1 for 17. And Jaden Antonio 1 for 12. England with 4 punts through 2 games for a 36.5 average, 2 inside the 20. Tate 5 for 5 extra points, 0 for 1 field goals. Penton 3 for 4 extra points. Wright 2 for 4 on extra points. The Raiders with 13 kickoffs, averaging 43.2. 76.9% on extra points. Dante Wright leading the way with 14 points. Caballero, Antonio, Carter, and Williams with 12 each. Courtney, Gorley, and Mitchell with 6 each. Kevin Tate with 5 points, and Preston Penton with 3. The Raiders have outscored their opponents 26-0 in the first quarter, 28-7 in the second quarter, 20-0 in the third, and 14-12 in the fourth quarter. 88 points scored, 19 points given up for a 44-point average per game, and the defense only giving up 9.5 points per game. They're 9-16 on the third down conversions for 56%. Fourth down conversions 1 of 1 for 100%, and touchdown turnover differential of a +2. They have 4 takeaways and only 2 balls given away. Averaging 172.5 yards per game on the ground, 164 through the air. We've already went over the stats for the defensive stats from last Friday night's game against Washington, where the Raiders only gave up 123 yards on the ground, 31 yards through the air, 2 for 9 on third down conversions, and a 2 for 18 through the first 2 games for 11%, and fourth down conversions 1 of 1 for total yards of 154. The Raider defensive leaders coming in after week 2, Josh Carter, Matthew Downey, and Nathan Cruz with 7 solo tackles each. Your leaders in assisted tackles are Isaiah Hayward and Peyton Law. Your leading tacklers with 10 each, Josh Carter and Matthew Downey. Your interception leaders, Evan Gorley and Gabe Davis with 1 each. Caused fumbles, Alex Gilchrist and Jordan Jefferson. Your fumble recoveries, Peyton Law and Evan Gorley. Your sack leader with 2 is Alex Gilchrist. Tackles for loss leader, Jordan Jefferson with 7. The Raiders with 1 block kick, and that came Evan Gorley. Your quarterback hurries 4. 1 each by Isaiah Hayward, Xavier Thomas, Mitchell Hunt, and Grady Kelly. And your big hits leader, big old number 99, Jordan Jefferson. On the season, the Raiders have given up 249 yards on the ground, 64 carries, 3.89 average. Passing only 8 of 20 for 60 yards. The Raiders only given up 30 yards through the air so far, and a 7.5 per completion. 11.1% on third down conversions for the defense, 50% for the defense on fourth downs, and the Raiders have only given up 309 yards through the first 2 games, 154.5. Before we get to the AP rankings this week, we're going to go ahead and head out for a commercial break. You're watching Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here at Culvers in downtown Navarre. If you want to chime in, my text line is 850-549-8387. You got any feedback or any comments or any questions, sure to hit that up at 850-549-8387. This Irish Bill's Twist on Sports, and we'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culvers. Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culvers, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef, and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Ursula Householder of Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is your householder in Navarre. Buying or selling, Ursula will make it easy. Ursula moved here almost 20 years ago and fell in love with the white sandy beaches. She has raised her children in Navarre, went to study at universities with academic scholarships, and both are successful adults. Ursula is a big supporter of the Navarre Raiders. Ursula has been a realtor since 2003, and Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate offers her the most advanced tools available in the industry. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a savvy investor, she will negotiate a deal for you. For a free buyer consultation, a free comparable market analysis of your home, and to see if you qualify for one of the rewards programs, call Ursula Householder at 850-642-5711. Send an email to ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is a subsidiary of NRT LLC.
One company is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Sounds like a big number, doesn't it? Not to Express Employment professionals seeking a skilled labor position or administrative work. Maybe you're an executive looking for a career that fits.
Good morning, everyone.
We take pride in connecting the right people with the right company. Express Employment Professionals is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Let us help. We'll open doors for you. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Are you a friend of JockJive on Facebook? Do you follow us on Twitter? Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? If you aren't, don't, and haven't, please do. We are growing exponentially and want you to keep up with us. Plus, we want to stay in touch with you. So go to the homepage of JockJive.com to like us, follow us, and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll jock and roll together. Lux Solar Salon and Spa is an Aveda salon, connecting beauty, environment, and well-being. The salon is located in Navarre off Highway 98 at Ortega. The team at Lux Solis specializes in hair design, color, botanical hair therapy, styling, skincare, makeup, facials, body treatments, and massage therapy. Spa packages are available for a fabulous Aveda experience. Bridal services are also available with advance notice. Aveda products are cruelty-free, and nothing is ever tested on animals. Lux Solis schedules appointments 6 days a week. Find us on Facebook at Lux Solis Salon and Spa. Call 939-9229. University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322. Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on JockJive.com. JockJive.com. We are literally taking the world by storm. Last year, more than 3,000 cities worldwide turned into our coverage of football, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball. From T-ball to the NCAA Division I athletics, JockJive crews have traveled this nation to provide you the finest in sports coverage. So the next time you need the spotlight glaring on your sports venture, think JockJive.com. Maybe not the only internet sports channel, but the best one.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're headed to segment number 2 already. Guys, 23 minutes into the show already. And we're a little bit behind, but I have nowhere else to go. And hopefully, wherever you're sitting, you have nowhere else to go either. So you can stay right where you are. And we're going to finish up with this show here in about the next 45 minutes to an hour. The Associated Press Top 10 Florida High School Football poll came out yesterday. And we're going to start with Class 8A. Sitting in the top spot, we actually have a tie between Deerfield Beach and Wekiva. At number 3, Christopher Columbus Catholic. Number 4, Apopka. Number 5, Atlantic Community. Number 6, Vero Beach. Miami South Ridge. South Dade at Palm Beach Central. And Kissimmee Osceola. They round out the top 10 in Class 8A. In Class 7A, St. Thomas Aquinas. They're in the top spot where they held the spot last week. Columbia at number 2, Plant 3, Lakeland Floor, Lincoln, and Tampa Bay Tech tied at 5. Dwyer and Bartram Trail tied at number 7. Number 9 goes to Edgewater, and number 10, Venice. In Class 6A, which affects a lot of the 12 Panhandle teams, to be exact, we have District 1, which is the Pensacola District, District 2 Santa Rosa, and District 3 over in Okaloosa. And still at the number 1 spot, Miami Carroll City, followed by Miami Central, Ocala Vanguard at number 3, Miami Northwestern at number 4. The first Panhandle team comes in at number 5, Escambia, they're 2-0, followed by Navarre at number 6, 2-0, Naples at 7, Armwood at 8, Crestview comes in at number 9. So this Friday's night matchup is a matchup between number 6 and number 9 in Class 6A. And number 10 is tie between Deltona and St. Augustine. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that St. Augustine game because you remember what over the last couple of years we've got familiar with this team. A couple of years ago, the Raiders took out St. Augustine in round 3 for 28-10 win. Last year, a round 2 victory went to St. Augustine, 52-21. Well, St. Augustine at home this past Friday night played Menendez, a Class 5A team, and they suffered a 62-28 defeat. And St. Augustine had lost a lot of players, but normally at home, that must be a pretty solid Menendez team to take them out 62-28. Let's move on down to Class 5A. Plantation American Heritage at number 1. Godby at 2, tied with Trinity Christian Jacksonville. Miami Jackson at 4. Cardinal Gibbons at 5. West Florida at 6. Bowl School at 7. Rockledge at 8. Menendez moves into the top 10 at number 9. And Jones comes in at number 10. The only other Panhandle team, actually a Big Bend team, is Wakulla, has honorable mention. Niceville also had honorable mention in Class 6A. Let's move over to Class 4A. Fort Lauderdale University at 1, a spot that they've held for the last couple of weeks. Monsignor Pace at 2, Raines 3, Cocoa 4. Miami Washington comes in at number 5. In Class 3A, Clearwater Central Catholic, Tallahassee Florida High, Delray American Heritage, Chaminade Madonna College Prep at 4, Kings Academy at 5. In Class 2A, Champagnat Catholic, Victory Christian, Foundation Academy, University Christian, and Zephyr Hills comes in at number 5. North Florida Christian comes in at number 6. In Class 1A, Madison County, Pahokee, Baker, Lafayette, Bluntstown, and also receiving votes, Port St. Joe is right there at number 6. So there's your class from 1 to Class 8 in the AP rankings. Next week we will go back to Florida High School Football Rankings.com. Josh has been really busy. Didn't have a chance to get him out till late this afternoon, and you can catch on Irish Bills Twist on Sports on my Facebook group page, and you'll see the rankings there for FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. Well, let's go over the games from last week. Navarre, we've already talked about. West Florida, 40-20 winner over Tate. Gulf Breeze, 38-21 over Catholic. Choctaw over Milton in overtime, 38-35. Crestview over St. Martin's, Mississippi, 17-14. Fort Walton Beach gets their first win on the season with a 21-7 win over Arnold. Escambia moves to 2-0 with a 42-13 win over Archbishop Shaw. Niceville 42, Easter Ridge 17. Niceville's first win on the field this season. They do go to 2-0, courtesy of a forfeit in Game 1 from Lincoln, playing an ineligible player. Pace 37, Pensacola 22, Mosley 33, Gadsden County 7, Franklin County 13, North Bay Haven 0, South Walton 32, Walton 6, Port St. Joe 14, Mariana 9, Florida High 30, Bluntstown 7, Rocky Bayou 42, Snook Academy 14, and Rocky Bayou improves to 2-0 on the young season. Liberty County 10, FAMU 8, Pike Liberal Arts 41, Freeport 28, Chipley 30, Graceville 24, Jay 40, Cottondale 0, Jefferson County 34, Sneeds 15, Weewa 24, Lighthouse PCA 0, Baker 19, Vernon 6, Flomaton, Alabama 40, Northview 20, Holmes County 14, Bozeman 13, and Clearwater Academy International 35, Taylor County 14. So there is your scores from last Friday night. And we're not going to talk about our picks yet, as I got them a little bit out of order here. We're going to move the Irish Bills Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings and our Player of the Week. Okay, not much change. In fact, nothing changed in our top 7. Crestview stayed at number 1, Navarre 2, Crestview 3, Gulf Breeze 4, West Florida 5, Niceville 6, and Tate 7. Our honorable mentions are Mosley, Pine Forest, Pace, Choctaw, and Baker. Your star of the week, he comes from South Walton High School. Quarterback Drake Roberts, he's a junior. He completed 18 of 28 passes for 372 yards and 4 touchdowns and no picks, and a 38-6 win over county rival Walton. Congratulations goes to quarterback Drake Roberts from South Walton High School. Other noteworthy performances from this past week, Niceville quarterback Will Koch, 15 of 21, 183, and 2 touchdowns. West Florida's Trevor Jordan, 15 of 21, 179 yards and 3 scores. Crestview's Jake Corbin, 7 of 11 for 145 yards. And Tate's Hunter Riggin, 6 of 13 for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 carries for 28 yards and a score. Your running backs from Gulf Breeze, Tyler Dittmer. Any other week, this young man would have won, but 31 carries, 282 yards, and 4 scores. Pace's Damian Bivens tops the 200 mark for the second straight week. 31 carries, 213 yards. He has 440 yards through the first 2 weeks. He had 3 touchdowns and 1 reception for 9 yards. Baker's Junior McLaughlin, 39 carries, 196 yards, and 2 TDs. West Florida's Jaheim Simmons, 32 carries, 192 yards, and 2 scores. Washington running back Julian Robinson, 20 carries, 164 yards, and a score. Mosley's Don McKay, 15 carries for 142 yards. Crestview's Jay Stanton, 20 for 132 and 2 scores. Chipley's Andrew Lawton, 29 carries, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion and an interception on defense. And Arnold's Jerry and Hardrick, 22 carries, 112 yards, and Sneed's Cortavius Garrett, 11 carries, 100 yards, right on the button, and a score. On over to the wide receivers, only have a couple this week. Crestview's Jaden Voisin, 3 receptions for 108 yards, and Pace's Caleb Buckner, 3 receptions for 102 yards and a score. On defense, Choctaw's Nathan Lewis, 15 tackles. Pace's Logan Taylor, 14 tackles, a tackle for loss. Chipley's Zach Wilson with 14 tackles and a quarterback hurry. Choctaw's Marquetrius Warmble. Wow, what a mouthful. Marquetrius Warmble. I'll move on. 14 tackles for Mr. Warmble. Pace's Aaron Holland and Pace's Jake Whitney with 13 tackles each. Aaron pitched in 4 tackles for loss and a half a sack, and a sack for Mr. Jake. Crestview's Dakota Matthews, 12 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a sack. Choctaw's Leighton Price, 11 tackles. Pace's Zach Barker with 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a half a sack. And Pace's Robert Wright with 11 tackles and a tackle for loss. Choctaw's Sion Yu, 10 tackles. West Florida's Dante Thompson pitched in 2 interceptions. And Navarre's Evan Gorley with an 89-yard interception return for a touchdown, a fumble recovery, and a block kick. And the special teams for Navarre, Jabari Mitchell, fresh up off of the JV team, 91-yard kickoff return and a touchdown. And on to the kickers and punters. West Florida's Jaden Ham, 5 of 5 extra points, 1 of 1 on field goals from 27. Gulf Breeze's Matthew Shurik, 5 for 5 on extra points, 1 of 1 field goals from 30 yards out. Choctaw's Tom Keene, 4 for 4 extra points, 1 of 2 field goals. But the field goal hit was a 38-yard game winner in overtime. Crestview's Trevor Dahlgren, 2 for 2 extra points, 1 for 1 field goal from 32. And Pace's kicker Blake Bullock with 1 for 1 on field goals from 45 yards out. Your top 7 in the Irish Bills Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings: Crestview, Navarre, Escambia, Gulf Breeze, West Florida, Niceville, and Tate. And your player of the week from South Walton High School, quarterback Drake Roberts. Now we're going to move on to this week's schedule and another slate of games. 25 games coming up this week. If I have that right, 24, at least 25 games. Schedule this week, you have Crestview at Navarre, Niceville at Clay Choctaw, so Niceville hitting the road up to Alabama. Pace will be at Pine Forest, Choctaw at Catholic, Tate at Gulf Breeze, Fort Walton Beach at Milton, Washington at Pensacola, D'Iberville, Mississippi at West Florida, Mosley at Rutherford, Madison County at Florida High, Walton at Arnold, Bay at Port St. Joe, Bluntstown at Mariana, Chipley at Bozeman, Liberty County at Cottondale, Franklin County at Bell, Holmes County at Freeport, St. John Paul II at Lighthouse PCA, Jay at Rocky Bayou, South Walton at Northview, Taylor County at Wakulla, Christchurch Academy at Weewaw, and Escambia at Archbishop Rummel on Saturday. 2-0 Escambia at 1-0 Archbishop Rummel. It was not a good week last week for Irish Bill and Mike making the picks. As Irish Bill, after our stellar first week, Mike went 20-3 the first week. Unfortunately, Mike dropped to 12-13. Week 2 really kicked our behind. I went 15-10 this week, 17 and actually 18-5 in week 1. But we're going to add Joe Settle to our picks this week, and here we go. We got to not all of us are the same, so we're going to have a one or two different. And the first game we're going to pick Crestview at Navarre. Mike Martino and Joe Settle going with Crestview, and I'm going with my Raiders at home. Don't disrespect my Raiders at home, as Joe Pinkos has Crestview as a 17-point favorite, and the Raiders will be the underdog, and they will take that kindly, and I will take them home with the victory. So Joe and Mike go with Crestview. I'm going with Navarre at home. Niceville on the road at Clay Chalkville. Niceville, Mike Martino's going with the Eagles on the road. Joe and I are going with Clay Chalkville at home. Pace at Pine Forest. Joe and Mike going with Pace. I'm going with the Pine Forest Eagles. Fresh off their idle week, so they should be ready to go in that game. So Mike and Joe go with Pace. I'm going with Pine Forest. Choctaw at Catholic. Mike and I are going with Choctaw, and Joe is going with Catholic. Tate at Gulf Breeze. All three of us going with the Dolphins at home, as well as with the Milton Panthers against Fort Walton Beach. Washington at Pensacola. That's a three-way pick for all three of us for Pensacola. D'Iberville, Mississippi at West Florida. A clean sweep there once again. As well as the next game, Mosley at Rutherford. All of us taking Mosley. Madison County at Florida High. A battle of the number one team in Class 1A. And Florida High comes in at number 2 in Class 3A. And that should be a good game there. Walton at Arnold. We're all going with Arnold. Port St. Joe over Bay, all three of us. Bluntstown over Mariana. A clean sweep for Bluntstown. Chipley over Bozeman, all three of us. Liberty County. Joe and I are taking Liberty County. Mike's going with the home team, Cottondale. Franklin County, a clean sweep over Bell. Holmes County at Freeport. I'm going with Holmes County on the road. Joe and Mike are going with Freeport at home. Joe and I are going with St. John Paul II at Lighthouse PCA. Mike going with the Lighthouse. South Walton at Northview. I'm the lone team going for the Seahawks on the road. Joe and Mike are going with Northview. Jay at Rocky Bayou. Joe going with Jay. Mike and I going with Rocky Bayou to go 3-0. Taylor County at Wakulla over in Crawfordville. A clean sweep for Wakulla in that one. Christchurch Academy at Weewaw. And we're going with the Weewaw Gators at home to improve to 2-1. And a Saturday matchup, Escambia at Archbishop Rummel. And all three of us going with the Escambia Gators on the road. So you have to tune in next Wednesday to see how all three of us did. Now it's time to jump on over to our NCAA predictions. It was week 1, and Mike jumped out to another 20-win week. He went 20 and actually he went 19-3, as we were both. Mike lost the Michigan at Notre Dame game, Texas at Maryland. We both lost that one, and I lost the Miami at LSU game, and we both lost Virginia Tech at Florida State. So 1, 2, 3, 4 losses for me. So 18-4 for Irish Bill, 19-3 for Mike. So he's got a 1-game lead heading into week 2. And Joe's stepping in on the college picks as well. We got a Thursday night game, number 16 TCU at SMU, and we're all three going with the TCU team on the road. And let's move over to Saturday. Kind of a lot of mismatches this weekend. New Mexico at number 5, Wisconsin. All three took the Badgers at home. Western Michigan at number 21, Michigan. The Wolverines rebound at home with all three of us. Number 18, Mississippi State at Kansas State. All three of us going with the Bulldogs on the road. UCLA at number 6, Oklahoma. Oklahoma off a big win in week 1 over Florida Atlantic, while UCLA lost at home to Cincinnati. We're all going with the Sooners at home. Georgia at South Carolina. Number 3, Georgia. Number 24, South Carolina. We're all going with the Bulldogs on the road. Number 15, Penn State at Pitt. All three going with Penn State. In fact, over the next about 10 games, all of us are going with the same team. So Kentucky at number 25, Florida. Gators all over Kentucky. Number 12, Virginia Tech over William and Mary. Number 23, Oregon over Portland State. Number 1, Alabama over Arkansas State. Number 4, Ohio State over Rutgers. Number 8, Notre Dame over Ball State. Number 9, Washington over North Dakota. Number 19, UCF over South Carolina State. That's a school for Navarre Raider assistant coach Tony Carter is a South Carolina State alum. UCF all over them at home. Youngstown State loses to number 14 of West Virginia. Southeastern at number 11 LSU. Sanford at Florida State. All of us taking the home team Florida State. And Alabama State at number 7 Auburn. All of us going with the War Eagles. And here's where our first disagreement is. Joe's going with Tulsa at Texas. Mike and I going with Texas. Mike going with number 17 USC at number 10 Stanford. Joe and I going with the Stanford Cardinal at home. All of us going with number 20 Boise State over UConn. And all of us taking number 15 Michigan State on the road at Arizona State. But that should be a pretty close game in my eyes with head coach Herm Edwards in his first season there. And that's your picks for this weekend. Is starting tomorrow night. We have one game, TCU at SMU. Actually, that is going to be a Friday night game, not tomorrow night. And then Saturday, a full slate coming up. And that concludes our second segment of the night. And we'll come back and we'll do our Where Are They Now segment, one of my favorite segments. And we'll be right back. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here at Culvers in downtown Navarre. Stay right where you're at. We have about, probably about another 20 minutes in the show. And we appreciate your patronage on JockJive.com. And come on down and check out Culvers. Great food and a great place to come down with the family and get some custard or a meal, whichever direction you want to go. This Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here in week number 2. And we'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culvers. Before farm to table, Before Field to Fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culvers, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is your householder in Navarre. Buying or selling, Ursula will make it easy. Ursula moved here almost 20 years ago and fell in love with the white sandy beaches. She has raised her children in Navarre, went to study at universities with academic scholarships, and both are successful adults. Ursula is a big supporter of the Navarre Raiders. Ursula has been a realtor since 2003, and Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate offers her the most advanced tools available in the industry. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a savvy investor, she will negotiate a deal for you. For a free buyer consultation, a free comparable market analysis of your home, and to see if you qualify for one of the rewards programs, call Ursula Householder at 850-642-5711. Send an email to ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is a subsidiary of NRT LLC.
One company is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Sounds like a big number, doesn't it? Not to express employment professionals seeking a skilled labor position or administrative work. Maybe you're an executive looking for a career that fits. Good morning, everyone. We take pride in connecting the right people with the right company. Express Employment Professionals is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Let us help. We'll open doors for you. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Are you a friend of JockJive on Facebook? Do you follow us on Twitter? Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? If you aren't, don't, and haven't, please do. We are growing exponentially and want you to keep up with us. Plus, we want to stay in touch with you. So go to the homepage of JockJive.com to like us, follow us, and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll jock and roll together. Lux Solar Salon and Spa is an Aveda salon connecting beauty, environment, and well-being. The salon is located in Navarre off Highway 98 at Ortega. The team at Lux Solis specializes in hair design, color, botanical hair therapy, styling, skincare, makeup, facials, body treatments, and massage therapy. Spa packages are available for a fabulous Aveda experience. Bridal services are also available with advance notice. Aveda products are cruelty-free, and nothing is ever tested on animals. Lux Solis schedules appointments 6 days a week. Find us on Facebook at Lux Solis Salon and Spa. Call 939-9229. University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322. Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on JockJive.com. JockJive.com. We are literally taking the world by storm. Last year, more than 3,000 cities worldwide turned into our coverage of football, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball. From T-ball to the NCAA Division I athletics, JockJive crews have traveled this nation to provide you the finest in sports coverage. So the next time you need the spotlight glaring on your sports venture, think JockJive.com. Maybe not the only internet sports channel, but the best one.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports, our final segment. Get a little tongue-tied tonight. As one of my favorite segments, my former Navarre Raiders, Where Are They Now? And we're going to start it right off with New York Jets tight end Jordan Leggett. They'll be starting their season this weekend at Detroit, a 7:10 kickoff on Sunday. Actually, that is going to be a Monday night game. And then we're going to move over to Middle Tennessee State wide receiver Gatlin Casey. He's a graduate transfer at Middle Tennessee State. You say, well, he played at Lehigh. Yes, well, he did. He got his degree from Lehigh, and he had 1 year of eligibility left, and he is off to Middle Tennessee State. I did not have any stats in a 35-7 loss this past Saturday against Vanderbilt. Next coming up for Middle Tennessee State is UT Martin. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff on Saturday night. Our next game is a game that, when is a game not a game? Well, Brian Lester, if you want to check him out on Twitter, check out Brian's article on from the Huntington's game this past Saturday. They had a weather delay with 13 minutes to go in the in the fourth quarter. And Huntington had built up a 58-48 lead. That's right, folks, 58-48. And old Mother Nature decided to take over with 13 minutes left in that game. They were getting ready to come onto the field later after the weather had cleared, but then there was lightning strike once again. So both coaches decided that it was a no contest, no win or loss for either team. So that's when a game is not a game. And but a great effort by Huntington as they put up 58 points heading into the fourth quarter. But defense needs to pick it up a little bit as they gave up 48. The reason I'm giving a little bit of time to Huntington, well, there is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 former Raiders on the roster for Huntington. You have offensive lineman Chris Herring, one of the 4 captains for the Hawks. Defensive lineman Ryan Struck, he's a sophomore. Huntington College quarterback Sage Chambers, he is out for the season with a torn labrum. He's actually heading to surgery tomorrow. So send your prayers to Sage Chambers and the Chambers family as Sage gets ready to go in for surgery tomorrow. You also have wide receiver Sam Register, Darrell Hicks, an offensive lineman, long snapper Garrett Schluter, and former Raider Chandler Cooper. He's a running back there. He played at Navarre up till his junior season. And those are the 7 Raiders that play for Huntington College. Their next game will be this Saturday at 6 p.m. against Birmingham Southern, featuring another Navarre former Raider, and that would be Dylan Main, who's a senior. They had a 34-28 win over LaGrange this past Thursday night. Kennesaw State defensive end Kyle Aerosmith, he did not have any stats in a 24-20 loss to Georgia State. Next up for them is Tennessee Tech this Thursday at 7 p.m. Trinity Bible College wide receiver Alex Watley, he's a redshirt junior. They're 0-1 on the season. They had an open week this past week. And the next stop for them will be at Indiana Wesleyan this Saturday at noon kickoff. 1 reception on the season for Alex Watley for no yards. Let's move over to Texas Tech defensive back Tommy Leggett. He's a redshirt sophomore. They're 0-1 on the season. He had 2 solo tackles and a 47-27 loss to Ole Miss on Saturday. Next up at home versus Lamar at 3 p.m. University of West Florida wide receiver Quentin Randolph. He's a redshirt junior. They're 1-0 in the season after their 19-9 win over Carson Newman this past Thursday night. And Quentin was your team leader with 4 receptions for 65 yards. Next up, they'll be hitting the road to Texas as they will be playing at Midwestern State. A game that was a washed out last year due to one storm, but they're going to get that game hopefully underway this Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Miles College kicker Brady Hamill, they're 0-1. They had a 37-0 loss to Alabama A&M. He had one kickoff for 62 yards. Next up for them will be at West Alabama. So Irish Bill and Bill Kane will be heading down, actually heading up 87. We're going to go through Bruton and head on over to Livingston, Alabama. We're going to catch the Miles College Golden Bears as they tackle West Alabama tomorrow night. That's a 6 p.m. kickoff tomorrow evening. Maryville College linebacker Bo Herring is a sophomore. He had 3 tackles, 2 solo and assist, a 38-3 loss to Berry College. And next up for them is Verse Center at home on a Saturday at 1 p.m. University of North Carolina running back Michael Carter is sophomore. He's still out nursing a broken hand. He did not play in the 24-17 loss to California. Looking at a week 2 to week 3 comeback for him. I'll have to tweet him and find out when he's going to be back. And they lost to Cal 24-17. Next up for them at East Carolina this Saturday at 2:30. Auburn University offensive lineman Nick Brahms. He's a redshirt freshman. He's a backup center. They 21-16 win over number 6 Washington. So they finally get that first win in the Mercedes-Benz Dome there in Atlanta. And next up for them, just down the road off I-85, they'll be taking on Alabama State at Auburn. A 7:30 kickoff this Saturday evening. Sam Houston State, wide receiver Tevin Stevenson. He's a redshirt freshman. They had an open week, actually looking to play their first game of the season this Saturday at 6 p.m. against Prairie View at home. Florida Tech defensive back Tyson Brown is a redshirt freshman. He did not play in a 34-13 win over Benedict, South Carolina on Saturday. Next up for them versus Newberry, 1 p.m. kickoff on Saturday at home. College of Sequoia's defensive lineman Josh Doxey is a redshirt freshman. They lost to Feather River 41-6. Next up on 8 September this Saturday at 7 p.m. against Chabot, and he is redshirted this season. Ave Maria University offensive lineman LaMarcus Smith, he's a sophomore. They're 1-0 on the season. They were idle this past week. Their next game is this Saturday at 2:30 at Lindsey Wilson in Kentucky. And a couple of walk-ons for Troy, wide receiver Jordan Williams and Troy running back Amari Green, both walk-ons for the Troy Trojans this year. They fell to Boise State 56-20 this past week. And then next up, as they'll be hosting FAMU this Saturday evening at 6. So there's your former Raiders. Where are they now? Now it's time to move over to Gulf South Conference standings, results, and schedule for this coming week. We had 7 teams started out with a victory. It was West Alabama 36-32 over Lenore-Rhine. North Greenville over Tusculum 13-3. Mississippi College 31. Clark Atlanta 30 in a close one. Tarleton State 44. Delta State 13. Sanford 66. Shorter 9. West Florida 19. Carson Newman 9. West Georgia 34. Catawba 3. Florida Tech 33. Benedict 14. And Valdosta State 45. Albany State 14. Week 2 schedule coming up. First game tomorrow night. Miles College 0-1 at West Alabama 1-0. On Saturday, 0-1 Limestone at West Georgia. Southwest Baptist 0-1 at Mississippi College 1-0. Lenore and Rhine 0-1 at North Greenville 1-0. Fort Valley State 0-1 at Valdosta State 1-0. Tusculum 0-1 and Shorter 0-1. Shorter looking to break their 28-game losing streak in that one. Newberry 0-1 at Florida Tech 1-0. Grand Valley State 1-0 at Delta State 0-1. and West Florida and the Midwestern State will cap off the Saturday evening. Both teams 1-0. Well, there's your Gulf South Conference results and schedule for this week. And wow, another show winds down here. Once again, I'd like to thank Randy and Honey Smith for hosting this show once again. Year number 2 here at Culvers in downtown Navarre. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. And before we head out, with Coach Jay Wall's victory last Friday night against Washington, he moves to 61-15 overall, 164-85 in 21 seasons as a head coach, with 17 playoff appearances and 3 state runner-up efforts and 2 state semifinals while at Navarre. Once again, I hope you have enjoyed the show wherever you may be. And to answer your question before I head off, Julie, I did not forget you. She had a question: is Navarre's starting kicker Kevin Tace back for the Crestview game this week, or is he still injured? I did not hear coming into the show. Hopefully I can get an answer for you, and we'll talk about that Friday night. What a matchup coming up this Friday night. Number 6 Navarre hosting number 9 Crestview at Bennett C. Russell Stadium. If you can't be there, be right here on JockJive.com, as Irish Bill will bring you live action on Navarre Raider football. And what a great season has been so far, and hopefully the Raiders can move on to a 3-0, but it should be a great game coming up this Friday night. But until Friday night, may you stay dry, and may the wind ever be at your back. This is Irish Bill signing off. Good night, Navarre.
Raiders, baby. Stand up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up, child, baby. You know. Who wanna rumble with the Raiders? Huh? It's a lose-lose situation, man. You know. Shouts out to my boy Cash.